Agent Krychek didn't show up for work this morning. His home number's been disconnected.
That's it? He's gone? He just disappears into the woodwork?
So it would appear.
Who are these people who can just murder with impunity and we can't do anything about it?
Let it go, Agent Mulder.
Like hell.
There's nothing you can do.
What can you do about it?
There's only one thing that I can do, Agent Mulder. As of right now, I'm reopening the X-Files. That's what they fear the most.
Hello and welcome to Most Unwanted, an X-Files podcast. I'm Chex and I'm joined as ever by Luke, and I'm guessing you all know the drill by now. We're going to talk some X-Files today.
We are.
So, how are you, Luke? You okay?
I'm not doing too bad. Oh god, I'm on spot now. I'm like, what did I actually do this
You
week?
get like this every time.
Yeah,
we
I know.
prepare to record. You know what's coming.
I know, but I switched off.
Well, that's great, because if the hosts of the podcast switch off in the first 30 seconds,
Yeah.
we've got a real good chance of breaking the internet with this.
What have I actually done? I honestly don't know.
This is brilliant. I think the thing is, Luke's been thrown off by the fact that we got the intro right in the first take. That never happens.
I've usually got a lot of time to plan what I'm doing. Or what's been happening, should I say.
I told Luke just before we started recording this podcast that I like his intros better than mine, because it sounds a bit like a news report. It's very professional.
Yeah.
It's very much... I'll do an impression of Luke's. Hello and welcome to Most Unwanted, an X-Files podcast.
I feel like I'm being put on blast here. Like, what's going on?
It's great. I feel like I've got a squeaky voice. I just... So have I squandered enough time for you to think?
You say this, but I've just looked through my calendar. I've not really done anything. That's why I had nothing to say. This week I've not really done anything. I've played some Red Dead. Played a bit more of that. So yeah.
We talked about that last week. So
I know. That's all I've done.
Repeatable content.
That's all I've done.
I've
done that and edit. That has been... My week has basically been that.
Things you do for this podcast.
I know, yeah. I've been editing this podcast and my other one, obviously. But
here we go. Here come the plugs.
Plug that one away.
We should record a little advert. No, we shouldn't.
Well, I did mention in the latest episode of that one that there's an idea of something. Dean was like, "Have you spoke to Chex about this?" Like, I was like, "Oh, we could do like there's a new game that's coming out soon, and it's sort of like one of those dungeon crawl kind of games."
Okay.
That they do. And I was like, "Oh, it'd be cool because it's a sci-fi thing. It'd be cool if we did like me and Dean, you as part of the X-Files podcast, and then somebody else. We'll find somebody else as well.
Yeah.
Somebody off the street.
Yeah. Come on.
But like, I was like, oh, it'd be good to do like a cross like podcast
Get
game.
the network of podcasts going.
Exactly. But that game is expensive. I'm like, I looked at the cost and I was like, oh, we'll see. It might happen, but I'm not promising anything. But anyway, I thought I'd tell you now because I didn't tell you. And Dean was like, Chex might be listening to this, be like, what? Just randomly out of nowhere.
Oh, I've had a great week, Luke. I've had a really good week. Thanks for asking.
Sorry. Anyway, how's your week been?
Yeah, my week's been great, mate. It's a lot of extracurricular activities this week.
That sounds really dirty. I don't know why.
No, extracurricular is not a dirty word.
Yeah, it was how you said it though.
Yeah, I've
too much Mulder in his pants. That way.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Speedos Mulder again.
Yeah.
Oh God. So yeah, I've been at my work. I've joined a film club.
Film club?
Yeah.
Wow.
Originally I joined a book club.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, and the book club I've just read. There's a film coming out. I can't remember the name. The Little Stranger. There's a film coming out with it. Really good. Really enjoyed it. I'm not going to review it. I think we review enough on this show.
Yeah.
But it was really good. Definitely recommend. And we've actually started a film club. It's not as serious. We don't meet up. It's literally just suggest a film and everyone watches it. But it's good because you get to see sort of films that you wouldn't normally put on. So
I do that with I don't really have a club or anything like that. But I know there's loads of podcasts that are sort of like that. And there's one that I did for It was like games. It's what's it called now? Cane and Rinse, and they basically
I love Cane and Rinse.
They analyze if you've heard it, but if for anyone who hasn't, they go through every week a different game basically, and it sort of is like a book club, and they have played it that week or something.
But
and
they
just
really go into depth, don't they, with the game? It's a really good games review.
Yeah, and
podcast.
For a period, I started going through trying to find loads of different ones of those, because it's sort of like this. Like, it's always good to have a companion, especially these days when like people are doing a lot more stuff online and aren't talking as much. It sounds weird saying it, but like it's a replacement for like conversations to stuff. Like you feel like you're getting like opinions and stuff on.
It's good to hear people, especially people who enjoy what you enjoy.
It's that replacement for the water cooler thing, because you know as more stuff moves to like Netflix and stuff, and people aren't watching everything.
And there's so much choice. People are watching different things.
That's the thing. It's a replacement for that. The amount of time somebody at work will say they've been watching something, I'll be like, I don't even know what that is. So,
no.
It's nice to sort of have somebody to like speaking about something that you're watching or following along with.
Yeah.
And like I said, in the case of this podcast, you can always email in. And I know a load of the other ones that I've sort of listened to do the same thing, where it's like I've enjoyed people emailing in and having that conversation, especially because a lot of the people who do email in have watched it before and they've got that love for the show, and it's nice to see their perspective of it coming from people who are watching it for the first time. But like you said, it is it's kind of evolving. It used to be just sort of talking, like you said, by the water cooler, but I feel like it sort of ascended now. Speaking of Ascension, I can't look at you right now.
Let's get on with the show. So this week's episode is titled Ascension. It originally aired on the 21st of October 1994. It was written by Paul Brown and directed by, I believe it's Michael Lang. I want to say Lang.
Yeah.
Lange.
I think, that's Lang. Yeah, I think he's directed one before as well. The name sounds familiar.
My boss, I say my boss, one of the higher ups in my company is called Paul Brown as well. But then again, I suppose that's not that uncommon. It's a pretty common name, isn't it? So yeah, that's all the details. Shall we get to the next segment?
Luke's production notes.
Well, yes, I think it is. Time for my production notes.
Thank you for joining the 10 o'clock news.
So I'll just get straight into it. The idea to have Scully abducted originated when Gillian Anderson became pregnant in the middle of first season.
We knew that, yeah.
But, I mean, yeah.
Did she... Wait, hang about. Did she get abducted?
That's what the production notes say.
Have you just spoilt it with the production notes?
Well, she disappears. She goes missing.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that what's happening at the moment is it's assumed that the FBI took her away.
Well, to be fair, it says abducted, doesn't say who.
Oh, I suppose you can be abducted by a man.
Yeah,
or a woman, I suppose.
So technically, that's true. Yeah.
You better not have spoiled this, though, Luke.
I have no idea if you get abducted by whoever.
I'm going to be furious.
Well, if I'm right, then I didn't know. So
I'm still going to be furious.
While initially upset, those in charge of the show never considered dropping the actress from the show. I can't... Can you get upset with actors for getting pregnant? Is that like... that seems a bit...
You know what? I can imagine it being something that happened in the 20s.
Yeah.
Speaking of the 20s, I can't wait for 2 years' time. We're going to be living in the 20s, in the roaring 20s. How cool is that going to be?
When we'll be literally roaring when there's a nuclear war or something like that. You still got that all... I don't know if... I'm not going to get political.
No, please do.
That'll spike us right off. Anyway. It's weird though, isn't it? Like, because we'll say it's the 20s. Yet, do you think people in the 1820s used to call it the 20s as well?
I assume so.
I
don't really know, but I'm definitely going to call it the 20s. Yeah. The problem is, you can do it now, but like the noughties is such a lame term. And, well, I don't even know what this...
The tennies.
The tennies, the teens. Yeah.
They're not good.
So let's get to the 20s. We know where we stand with the 20s. I'd like to go back to the 20s. I'd like to sort of Prohibition era. That's what I'd like.
The stock market crash. That was good, wasn't it?
I love it. Was the stock market crash in the 20s?
Yeah, it was 20s.
Was it really?
I think it was 1920.
Was it really?
Bang on.
Oh,
the
wow.
20s, yeah.
To be honest, all I know of the 20s is like Boardwalk Empire.
The good parts.
Yeah, I like the Prohibition era, and I want to be back in the Prohibition era so that we can drink booze on the down low. Like I don't want to go there to not drink booze. I want to drink booze in like the back of like an old club or something like that with like a cigar and I'm like, that's my gangster impression, by the way.
That's what Al Capone.
Beat the system.
That's exactly what Al Capone was like. So I hear.
Does Al Capone have a famous quote? I feel like we should know.
Get out, motherfuckers.
Is that what he said?
I don't know. When he just let loose the Tommy gun, maybe. I don't know. He was a bit of a wild card, wasn't he?
He was a bit of a wild card, yeah.
But anyway.
I'm a bit of a wild card.
I don't think he spoke like that.
He definitely did. That's how all guys in the 20s spoke.
Yeah. I just imagine him as a Scouser because... no. Because
I'm doing the accent.
No, it's because what's his name plays him, doesn't he? In
Boardwalk Empire, yeah. What's his name? Stephen Graham.
Stephen Graham, yeah.
Yeah, but he does an American accent.
He does. I don't know what accent he's
from
doing.
Chicago.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Chicago, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is that where Al Capone's from?
That's why my accent is so well representative of Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry to everyone who lives in Chicago that listens to this. I'm almost certain you don't sound like this. I'm a wild card. Hey!
If you want to send us your offensive accents of us, that's completely fine. We'll play those on the show and everything.
How many production notes have you gone through?
Oh, 2.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Let's continue.
Some of the other ideas for Scully while she was pregnant was to give birth to an alien baby.
Oh God, yeah, I'm glad they didn't go.
This was ultimately dismissed, and they decided to work around the pregnancy by closing the X-Files and separating Mulder and Scully, and eventually having her abducted again. Just abducted by who?
We don't know.
We don't know. This permitted the producers to have an explanation for Scully's absence, and this sort of spoils something from the next episode. Shall we? Or shall we keep that under our belt? I mean, most people listening probably know.
Yeah, but still, now
let's keep it.
Because people might be watching along with us. So.
Let's not spoil it then. Yeah, but this, I'll just say that it permitted Scully's absence.
Yeah.
Series creator Chris Carter, God bless him, or not.
Get out, Carter.
Commented that both the censors and the producers were reluctant to show Scully in the trunk. But he fought for that image as he considered it conveyed the sense of danger to the character. Carter also added that scenes of the experiment were meant to be ambiguous on whether Scully was abducted by aliens, the military, or both. So I think he's leaving it open.
Well, that's interesting because I assumed... Okay, first of all, I don't understand why they had a problem with Scully in the trunk. That's a strange one. But I mean, I actually... thought that was a really good image. See, like Scully in the trunk. Do you know what I mean? It really, well, like I said, it conveyed the sort of the dire situation.
I think maybe they just didn't want to put women in danger in, like, was it 94? Maybe it was just more
in danger all the time.
Yeah,
it's a strange one. But
or maybe something happened recently at that time, like a kidnapping or something.
Yeah, could be. But with regards to the experimentation scene, I was under the impression that was a dream from Mulder.
That's what I thought as well. That's the impression I got from the actual scene. So
yeah,
maybe again, it could be anything. So from this point, I don't really know.
We will have a look.
Right. Another one, and I thought this one was the most impressive actually. David Duchovny provided his own stunts in this episode, including being dangled in the aerial lift, shot in a single day at Goose Mountain in North Vancouver, British Columbia.
Fair play.
So yeah, it's like, well, fair enough. Yeah, he's actually.
What a guy.
What a guy.
First, you've got the Speedos in the last episode.
You're not going to get over those Speedos, are you?
Should anybody? And then you've got this. He does his own stunt work. Oh, what a man. Oh, I love him.
And the last note was, the tagline for this episode was, deny everything, replacing the usual truth is out there.
It's the only problem with the production notes going before the show. Because I noticed that, and I was like, I'm going to knock Luke's socks off when I come up with this, and I bet you he hasn't noticed. And of course, you've got the production notes. Ruins it all.
Maybe we should swap them around and have them at the end then.
We could have them at the end, I suppose. We've got a lovely jingle for them now. But then the jingle could go at the end.
Jingle works at the end, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know if we'll leave that in.
Well, once Beyonce gets back in touch,
Okay.
we'll have...
I feel we need to have a little intervention on this.
What?
It's been a week.
She's just busy. She'll get back in touch.
Come on.
She'll get back in touch.
We need to stop this. It's become a problem.
We can talk about the placement of the production notes another time.
Yes.
Because we've got much more pressing matters at hand. We've got an episode of The X-Files to talk about, so let's get on with it. We start in Washington, D.C. It's a stormy night, and Mulder's looking pretty stressed in his office.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that this is a continuation from the last episode.
Yeah, I like that you get to see that bit from his point of view now. And
Yeah, so basically the last episode ended with Scully desperately making a phone call to Mulder while she's getting kidnapped, I guess. And Mulder wasn't there. So now we see what happens when Mulder gets the message. So yeah, she's left a voicemail message. She's, again, tells him, and I know I'm going over the last thing of the episode, but I might as well do it. She tells him that the piece of metal they took from Dwayne had a code on it, and she went through a scanner and a serial code came up. She sounds panicked and says it's almost as if someone was cataloguing him. Then she goes silent for a second. Of course, we know what's happened. But then we hear a commotion, and Scully starts screaming for Mulder and asks for his help. We cut to Scully's apartment, and Mulder rushes there. Mulder rushes to the apartment, and a crime scene's already been set up.
Did you notice what apartment number she was in?
I didn't know.
419. I'm pretty sure that is, again, another one of those numbers.
We should... I keep forgetting the numbers, so I don't know.
We have to write them down.
I keep noticing numbers. I'm going, It could be. I don't know. That could be significant.
You got to treat it like Lost, as if these numbers
Something.
are important. Yeah.
Well, the thing is with Lost, though, you could throw a dart at the show, and it would be significant.
Yeah.
Because they were so incessant on making sure everything had a reason, a rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't feel like this show does. I'm sure it has like little nods to things, but I don't feel like every random detail has a significance.
I think even when we spoke about it last, it was just the date of birth and stuff like that, wasn't it? So
exactly.
It's not like it's... Yeah.
So yeah, a crime scene has already been set up, and Mulder finds the window's been smashed and there's blood on the window frame. We keep flashing back to the event happening from Scully's perspective, what we saw in the last episode, as Mulder searches. So as Mulder finds a clue, we get a flashback of what happened. Mm-hmm. He searches the scene whilst the forensic team work, and he continues to find hints as to what's happened whilst the flashbacks happen. Scully's mum eventually appears at the door, and she's begging to get in. She's obviously panicked, as you would be.
It must be hard for her, like, especially finding out what's happening, because, like, she's lost her husband, and now
of course.
Potentially something's happened to her daughter. So
it's got to be a tough life being the parent of an FBI agent or an agent of any kind, I suppose, because they put themselves into dangerous situations all the time. I suppose every time you go to the house, in the back of your head, you'd be expecting something like this. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, she's obviously very panicked. Mulder approaches her and tells her that Scully isn't there. And she asks where she is, and Mulder just looks at her without an answer, and he doesn't know what to say. He just sort of looks dumbfounded for once. And then we go to the title screen. Fun fact, did you know at the end of this title scene, it says, the text changes. It actually says deny everything. Did you know that, Luke?
I had no idea.
Well,
never heard of that before.
You should make better notes, Luke. So yeah, that was it. Now we've got past the production notes. Did you notice it when you first watched it?
No, I honestly didn't.
Did you not?
No, I didn't notice
Okay.
it.
So what do you think? What do you think the reason for this is?
But do you know why I didn't notice?
Go on.
Amazon has a skip intro.
It's iconic. You can't skip the intro.
I know, but I was on my lunch at work and I was trying to save 2 minutes. That is iconic.
It is iconic.
Okay, we need less music in this show.
So yeah, why do you think they put this in? The deny everything? Because it will say later on in the episode, this phrase is muttered. So one of the agents, we'll get to it, but it is mentioned, this phrase.
I don't know, like, maybe it was them trying to sort of say that this agency has their hooks into everything, even this show, you know what I mean? Like, as like they can control stuff like that, like as a sort of meta experience, like outside.
It is interesting because it's a weird episode to do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like a little bit into season 2, they've not done it before, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, but definitely worth a note. So we cut to later that night. The investigation is ongoing. TV crews have even started arriving outside, and inside. Mrs. Scully, did we ever find out?
I don't know what her first name is now. So I just put Scully's mom, so yeah.
So we'll go with Mrs. Scully. Mrs. Scully tells Mulder she dreamt of Scully being taken away. She's had this sort of recurring nightmare of her being kidnapped. And Mulder's basically just trying to comfort her at this point, just make sure that it's all going to be okay, basically. But I don't think he quite believes it, if I'm honest.
No.
We go to the headquarters.
Oh, just before that, actually, because I didn't know. I like, there's a part where Scully's mom tells Mulder, she's talking about the dreams, and she says to Mulder she doesn't believe in that kind of thing. I thought it was so funny hearing her tell that to Mulder of like, yeah, I know. It's just like a throwaway line. It was quite
mother
nice.
like daughter. Yeah. We do go then to the FBI headquarters, and we see Skinner, and he's in a meeting with Mulder and the cigarette smoking man.
Yeah, he's sort of sat in the corner, isn't he, just watching?
Yeah, which he always tends to be. Like
I thought that, like, he's always just there. Does no one go, who is this guy sat here?
Why aren't you doing your job?
Yeah.
Like,
what is your job?
What are you doing here?
He's every time you see him in a scene, he's always just sat there watching this.
Just smoking.
And you don't know what he's actually meant to... I mean, to be fair, like, they've not explained it because maybe they just think, oh, he's just a higher up. But yeah, no one seems to ever just call it out as like, who's this guy? If I walked into a meeting, there was a guy there who I'd never seen before, I'd be like...
Can we have the room, please?
or I introduce myself. I'm Luke.
Yeah. I'm cigarette smoking man. What?
That's Cancer Man, thank you very much.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I better explain that because I don't think we had it in the podcast, did we?
I don't think we did, no.
So I was looking through, like, the scripts and stuff because sometimes I do like to try and get notes and that. And it labelled Cigarette Smoking Man as Cancer Man. And I was like, is that like an alternate name for him or something? I mean, if it is, someone...
It's in the script,
yeah,
but I don't know.
Someone tell me, or is this...
Have you spoilt it again?
I don't think so.
You keep spoiling
it. Maybe we find out what happens to him ultimately.
Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, he's lounging around as he always does.
Yeah.
He tells them, and this is Skinner, he tells them that according to Scully's report, Dwayne Barry's violent behaviour is due to brain damage, due to a bullet in the head, which again, I know we covered last episode, so... It's a bit weird talking about this one separate to the last. Do you know what I mean?
It is very much. You have to watch these two as one episode, basically.
Which, I mean, another peek behind the curtain, but it's weird for us because the way we scheduled these podcast recordings, we're recording them a week in between, so I'm almost forgetting what was in the previous episode.
I did this. I come back to it and I was like, I don't remember exactly
they
what
all
happened.
blur into one, don't they?
Yeah.
So I know if I go over things, that's the reason why. Kerchak is there as well, and he also tells them about Dwayne's paranoia of being abducted and how he thinks he can save himself by bringing someone else to the abduction site. When asked on his thoughts, Mulder tells them about the metal implant that Scully found, and suggests that that's how Dwayne might have found her. Because obviously it's there for tracking purposes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what gave her location away.
Yeah.
Because there is that question of how Dwayne found Scully's apartment.
How did he know where she lived? Yeah. That's a good point, actually. I hadn't thought about that until this point.
Yeah, they do mention it later on as well, but again, we'll get there. He goes on to mention a mountain that Dwayne mentioned, but states a specific location was never given. And Skinner dismisses Mulder and tells him to get some sleep.
I don't understand why he even asked Mulder, because like he knew he was going to dismiss whatever Mulder had to say. It seems that's what happens a lot.
Yeah, and in fairness to Skinner, that's got to be protocol, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're that invested in a case, I'd imagine your mind gets foggy. Like you glaze over details because you're involved. You're too involved.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine if anything like that comes up, it relates to partners or family, that the logical step for any supervisor would be take him off the case, bring in a fresh pair of eyes that can look at it logically.
It is difficult though, because like I can't imagine somebody who is invested like in their partner sitting back.
No, of course. It's a difficult situation, and I support all parties. But my point was, I don't think Skinner's being a bad guy.
No. I don't.
Even though he's coming across as a little bit of a dick, I suppose, for lack of a better word.
That's just his MO, though. Isn't
Yeah, exactly. Until a little bit later.
Well, yeah.
But we'll get there again. I feel like we just keep saying that. We'll get there. Should we just stop doing it? Just get there.
Let's just do it, yeah.
Just get there, guys. That's what everyone's saying.
Stop teasing us and just get to the bloody end.
Just a bunch of teasers.
What a nickname.
I don't know why that tickled me.
Teasing the X-Files right out of us.
Okay.
I don't know.
That tickled me. I don't know why. It's not even a joke.
Don't even know who this will make it in. But
Skinner dismisses Mulder, like I said, and tells him, get some sleep. He tells him you're too close to this case, and they will call him if needed. Then he tells Kerchak to take Mulder home. Mm-hmm. So, and Kerchak obviously does so. We then cut to Route 299 in Rixeyville, Virginia. Mm-hmm. Dwayne Bowie's driving down the road in Scully's car, listening to Red Right Hand by Nick Cave.
Do you know what this is from?
It's Peaky Blinders, isn't it?
Yeah, as soon as it came on, I was like, wait a tick.
It's a great song.
It's a really good song, but because it's so synonymous with that program, it did take me out of it a bit, but that's, like I said, this is 94, that was like...
Peaky Blinders copied them.
Yeah, I know. So.
But
I don't know if they copied them.
I think the thing is with that song as well, Nick Cave in general, it's a very moody kind of, what you call it, like some genre that he plays. And so it works really well to this, because it's not quite creepy, but it gives that sort of moody, tense vibe to the drive. Do you know what I mean?
Because it's not like... as like rock music, it's not like powerful, like in your face. It's just like that, like undertone, like
and the sort of the dings. Every now and then, it's best way I can describe it. It feels like a heartbeat. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really good. It works well for the scene, which is why I made a note of it. He's driving rather erratically, keeps looking behind him nervously, and he drives past a patrol car, which pulls him over.
As soon as he pulled him over, I was like, this guy's dead.
Yeah, poor guy. It's one of those situations, isn't it? Yeah. The officer turns on his dash cam now. Smart. Yeah. Very smart. Is that protocol? It must be, actually, because the amount of dash cams I see on, like, world's scariest police
camera action and stuff like
that. Yeah, so...
How good are those shows?
They are really good, yeah.
They're so easy to make, but it's just amazing when crazy stuff happens and they capture it on like a dash cam.
You know, you'll know what I mean. I think it's called World's Scariest Police Chase. I'm not sure. Yeah. But I think it is. And it's the guy that narrates it, and he's got such an iconic voice.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to do an impression. I've done too many impressions this episode already. But you know what I mean? I love his voice.
Yeah. And they're just great, like, to watch. Like, they're brilliant TV when you've got nothing to do. You just want to sit there, chill out, and you're like, Channel 5 on. And then you go, that'll have some kind of crap.
Have you seen Anchorman 2?
Yeah.
We
went to the pictures, see?
Sorry?
We went to the pictures.
Oh, we did, yeah. Pictures. I like that. It's very 1920s. I'm a walker.
Oh, my God.
I'm on the pictures.
Yeah, good job it was a talkie, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, they take credit for the car chase news report, don't they? Do you remember?
I can't remember that bit now.
Yeah, it's like it was the first time it's ever been done, and everyone was like looking at them saying, like, "What? Are you just going to follow a car?" And then they realise it's such great viewing. Anyway, really off topic. So the officer turns on his dash cam and approaches the car, asks him to turn the radio off. Not a fan of Nick Cave. No. And Barry asks if he could just give him a ticket quickly, and he's got somewhere to be. Now, I'm sorry, but if you want to get away from a cop, don't say that.
Never say that.
Because it's not going to happen, is it?
They're going to make your life hell.
Yeah, exactly. He's not sure where he's got to be, but he says, they'll tell me when I get there. The officer notices his bloody knuckles, and he also notices his hospital bracelet. So he begins to draw his gun. He tells him to exit the vehicle. Barry refuses. And then he hears a bang in the boots. Obviously, Scully. We know it's Scully now because we see her in the boots. We hear a bang. He turns to look. Bang. Shot. Yeah. And you see he literally puts his hand out the window with the gun. We see it on the dash cam clearly. Shot straight in the chest. At the headquarters, Mulder's reviewing this dash cam footage. And he manages to get a clear picture of Scully in the boots. They use their magic technology.
The image cleaner 5000.
Yeah. And he zooms right on Scully's face in the boots.
It always makes me laugh when any program does this, where they just zoom in and then they're like, clean that up a bit. It's like, that's not how it works. Like, have you watched that? It was on the weekend, but I mentioned going to the cinema to see the war document. Yeah. What's his, Peter Jackson's. As well. They do it in that, where they basically blow it up and stuff. And you can, like, it's cleaned up a lot, but you can still tell the faces, like, especially on a big screen. It's not all...
It's got to be put together, hasn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not like zoomed in and it's like, oh, that's brilliant. It does lose a lot if you zoom into it. And it's just ridiculous.
But, it's TV.
It's cliche.
It's cliche TV.
It's like cliche.
Can we use that
cliche
forever
TV.
Now? Whenever we come up across cliche. Oh my god!
Well, I guess we are definitely now.
It's a cliche TV.
Cliche TV, that is. I'm not even going to put a saying that. I'm just going. It's cliche TV.
No, it's just a cliche TV. Yeah. I can't wait until we talk about next episode, where it's like a complete noir cliche TV.
Anyway, we'll save it for next episode.
We'll get there. You little tease, Luke.
Give it to me slow.
Oh, God, what's happened to this episode? Okay. Okay. Later that day, Mulder's listening to his conversation with Barry back from the last episode. He's saying he wants to go back to the abduction spot. Kerchak brings him a coffee, and whilst Mulder listens to the tape, and he's over and over and over, keeps rewinding it, keeps rewinding one specific bit, which is when he says, send to the stars. Mulder deduces he's going to Skyland Mountain, based on where the officer pulled him over, and an ad that he remembers for Skyland Mountain with Ascend to the Stars as its slogan. So a bit of good detective work here from Mulder. It's convenient, but...
do you know what? I thought he missed... I would have thought with him telling that he was going up somewhere and where he's driving, I would have thought he would have put two and two together and thought it was a mountain of something, or a hill.
It depends, though, isn't it? I mean, again, we're going to look really ignorant because we don't know that much about American states, but there might be tons of mountains.
That's true, yeah. From the nearest mountain to us is the Lake District, which is like...
Yeah, exactly. If you're in UK and you said, he's going up a mountain, you've got three choices. You've got what?
That's true.
Ben Nevis, Snowdon. That's it.
2 choices. I can't even think of a third one.
You go there, I'll go there, we'll catch him.
The Lake District, maybe?
Lake District's in the mountain, isn't it?
Hills.
It's a hill. No, a hill's not a mountain. Come on, give me a break.
We've got little to this... I don't know.
A little mound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to cast that as mountains as well?
There's actually a place in America called Moundsville, so...
What does that relate to anything?
I don't know, I just heard it the other day. Heard it was a place.
Shout out to all the people of Moundsville.
Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying the show. God, this is going to be a long show.
No, it won't.
Cut now.
Snip, snip, snip.
So yeah, it's good detective work here for Mulder, and he tells Kerchak to get his car, meet him downstairs, and when Kerchak asks about Skinner, because obviously Skinner's told them not to get involved with the case, Mulder tells him he'll handle Skinner. So we jump to the car park, and Kerchak's on the phone to his superiors, reporting on Mulder being sneaky again.
What a shit.
Yeah, he's an unlikable bloke, this guy.
Yeah.
I hate his name as well, because I can't really say it.
Kerchak, yeah.
See, in the latest episode, it sounded like they were saying Krychek.
I think it is Krychek.
I think it might be, but like I'm sure in the first episode it was pronounced Kerchak. I don't know. I can't say it. It annoys me.
Alex. We hate him.
Is that his name, Alex?
Alex Krychek or Kerchak.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll go with Krychek and Kerchak. You know what I'm talking about. He's on the phone, and he tells whoever he's on the phone to that he'll hold him off until they locate her. So he's going to go with them, but he's going to stall Mulder.
Basically, yeah.
And he ends the call abruptly when Mulder arrives. And as they leave, we see the cigarette smoking man in the car park as well, and he puts his phone away. So we can only assume Krychek was on the phone to that man. So we're driving down, in this scene, Route 211, Warrenton, Virginia. Mulder and Krychek are on the way to Skyline Mountain, and Mulder falls asleep at the wheel, almost head-on collision with a truck.
Yeah.
So we get by this that he's pretty burnt out. Krychek wakes him just before they crash, and Krychek suggests he take the wheel because Mulder hasn't slept. But Mulder refuses, goes on to tell him Krychek goes on to tell him that multiple disasters and thousands of car crashes are due to sleep deprivation.
It was like a tiredness kills advert, this was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. He mentioned that Chernobyl was also caused by it.
I'm sure I've heard that somewhere before.
I listened, and I know I was speaking to you about this before, but there's a podcast I listened to called Do Go On.
Yeah.
Highly recommend if anyone is interested in podcasts, which if you're listening to one, I'm assuming you are. But they basically, the premise is they just go through, they just talk about different events and they run through the lot. And I was listening to this really interesting one on Chernobyl. God, the amount of things that had to go wrong for that to happen. And it was the reason why it was the explosion happened was it was a test to see whether if things went bad, they could sort it by running it on these backup generators.
Yeah.
And it was this test, and it kept on getting pushed back and back and back because it wasn't safe. But it was a test to see whether they could solve if it went bad, and then it goes bad during the test. And funnily enough, they couldn't solve it.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff. But I don't remember sleep deprivation being a part of it. The only thing I know is that it was shifted back to the night shift. So it was originally meant to be the daytime staff, but it got pushed back for safety reasons. So the nighttime staff...
for safety reasons.
Yeah, exactly. And the nighttime staff wasn't briefed on the tests happening. So I don't know whether sleep deprivation had anything to do with it, but I know it was to do with because the fact the nighttime staff not knowing had a lot to do with it. That's another podcast for another time. But I thought it was interesting. Mulder tells him he knows. He thinks they should have told Skinner, and that's why he's annoyed. But Mulder's worried if the cavalry arrive, it might spook Barry into doing something stupid, basically. Yeah. It might spook him into killing Scully, is what I assume him to mean.
Which he can't take a risk with, basically.
He is... And I completely understand he is taking it into his own hands. It's the same thing that you see this in a lot of TV shows where a husband's wife has been kidnapped and they tell him, don't get the police involved. And even though that's the most sensible thing to do, you don't do it because you're not going to take that chance.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I can completely understand Mulder's point of view. They discuss the implants, and Mulder says it's possible that that's how they found Scully, after Krychek sort of probes a little bit. But then he also says that it might not have been, and that someone could have given him her address.
Yeah. Which,
I don't know what he's suggesting here. Maybe it was the FBI, maybe, I don't know what he's thinking. But he said he doesn't know who it would be if it was. So, interesting little note. We then get to Skyline Mountain, where we stay for the majority of this episode now. There's a tram operator there, and he tells the agents that the tram is shut down. And when Barry passed through, he told him, he does recognise him, shows him a picture. He says Barry did pass through, but he told him to go back up through the back road, which takes about 45 minutes to get to the top of the mountain. Mulder asks him to turn the tram on for him, and the man tells him the cables have just been refitted. They've not been tested yet.
Yeah.
This isn't going to stop Mulder, we know that.
No.
He then threatens the man by showing him his gun.
I noted this as like, did Mulder just threaten to murder the tram guy?
That's exactly what he did. He said he doesn't have a choice.
Okay.
And he literally unclips his gun. But this is a man that's desperate.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's not an agent at this point. He is a friend looking for his best friend.
Yeah, I just think it's funny.
It is. I mean, it's incredibly unprofessional.
Yeah.
He does threaten to murder this man.
Yeah. I mean, any other police officer would get their badge taken for that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. So, we're on where the sort of, I don't know what you call it, but where the tram sets off from. And the tram operator turns it on for him and tells him if there's a problem, he's not going to be responsible for Mulder's death. So Mulder gets on the tram and he locks Krycek out, telling him to keep the tram operational. No matter what happens, you make sure this guy keeps the tram going up. So the tram operator starts telling him how to operate the tram safely. You know, it's only going to take a couple of minutes. Just let's get through the safety information so you don't die. Mulder, he's off.
Gone.
He turns the tram on and he just watches him as he ascends.
Yeah.
So the man shouts after him, don't go faster than 15. Whatever you do, okay, you don't have to listen to all the safety information. You don't have to make sure you keep your hands and feet inside the car at all times. Just don't go over 15, please.
As soon as he said this, it's like, well, that's definitely going to happen.
Well, then Mulder turns it up faster than 15.
Immediately.
So it's maximum speed. And, I mean, I know the way they filmed this is basically they filmed the tram and they've obviously fast-forwarded the footage.
Yeah.
They've sped the footage up. It looked amazing. This tram car flying through the air. So, yeah, he turns it to his maximum speed. The tram operator starts panicking as he watches. He radios Mulder and tells him the cart might jump the tracks at the tower. You need to slow it down. So Mulder decides what he's going to do. He's going to keep it going fast, but turn it down for every tower.
Yeah.
And every time they go past the tower, the creaking
tension,
oh my days, you thought something was going to happen. So as he's about to reach the top, Krycek hits this guy on the back of the head, knocks him clean out.
Yeah. And from what we find out later, potentially murders this guy.
Yeah, possibly.
Because they say he goes missing.
Yeah, he's not seen again.
He's not seen, and it's like, whoa, they just, killed him.
This is interesting because we knew Krycek was a mole. Mm-hmm. We didn't know the lengths he would go to stop Mulder.
He's played his hand really early.
He really has.
Yeah.
This is is it the second episode that we've seen him in, or the third?
Second or third, yeah.
And, he is going to extreme measures now to stop Mulder.
That's the thing. Yeah, I don't know what his end game was here, because he knew that someone's going to find out that if he just smacked a guy, that guy's either going to wake up and say, this dude hit me, or he's going to be
murdering a civilian.
Yeah, which
Mulder's not above, we know that, but most of the FBI will be.
I don't know. Because what's the end game here? Because, even if Mulder survives, and he says, oh, what happened to the tram conductor? Oh, we don't know, he went missing. Well, that's weird, because I left him with Krycek.
Yeah.
So immediately he's a suspect. It's either that, or he then goes on and kills Mulder, and the tram conductor is also missing. So when they investigate, they're going to go, well, what happened to the tram conductor?
He's protected, though, isn't he, Krycek? He's protected by... He's been given orders.
Yeah, I guess,
Maybe he's too naive to think that they won't throw him under the bus at the first opportunity, which they will do, I assume.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just... I didn't understand what his ultimate goal was in this.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think he's panicking.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So, yeah, he knocks this guy out, and then he cuts the power to the tram car, leaving Mulder stranded. Mulder radios in, but obviously Krycek ignores him, and then he phones his superiors, just to let them know what's happened. We briefly see the mountain top, and Barry arrives at the top of the mountain, but we cut straight back to the tram. And Mulder gives up trying to radio in, looks for a way out of the cart, and he finds an escape hatch that gets to the roof.
Yeah.
Now, talking about not knowing what your end game is he planning on jumping?
Yeah, I don't really know. Or maybe shimmying up the cable?
I get the idea he thought that maybe it was jammed.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he gets on top of the tram, and Krychek's looking on from the CCTV.
Action Man Mulder.
Action Man Mulder, yeah, exactly. And as Mulder tries to unjam the cart, Krychek turns it back on. Again, is he trying to kill Mulder here?
Yeah, that's what I thought. It seemed that way, but...
He turns it back on, which throws Mulder over the edge. I didn't realise this was Duchovny, so fair play.
Yeah.
But he manages to hold on as the tram ascends.
It's impressive, like, that he's doing all these stunts. Like,
Yeah, it
I don't know how
was.
high up it actually is. Like,
I'm assuming it's not on a mountain.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But, like, even so, it's still like, it's good that he's filming all of this.
Definitely.
And, so.
He does manage to pull himself back up and makes it to the top of the mountain safely. So on the mountaintop, Mulder finds Scully's car abandoned, and he notices blood on the steering wheel. He checks the trunk, and he finds rope, and he also finds Scully's necklace, actually, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I forgot to note that down, but it's the cross necklace.
The cross, like, pendant necklace.
Yeah. So he knows that Scully's been there. And a bright light then appears in the sky, and he hears, like, this... best way I can describe it is maniacal laughter.
Yeah.
In the distance. And he runs towards it, and Barry's there.
Yeah.
Who is cheering at the sky, almost jubilant.
Yeah.
And obviously Mulder holds him at gunpoint and asks, where is Scully?
Sorry, Barry's here. It's like, here's Barry. That name. I think last episode we said Chris Carter wasn't happy on the name.
No, it was Dwayne Gary, wasn't it?
Dwayne Gary. I don't know if that's any better, but Dwayne Barry is definitely not a killer name either.
No, it's not really, is it? But then again, he's not really a killer.
No.
You know what I mean? He's, again, a desperate man.
Yeah.
So he holds him at gunpoint, he asks where Scully is, and Barry just shouts to the sky, I'm free, you sons of bitches, which is a pleasant guy. He's still talking about himself in the third person. You can't get Dwayne Barry anymore. I might start talking about myself in third person.
I like the way you described it then. You can't. I'm free, you sons of bitches. He sounds like what's his name? Chow from The Hangover.
I'm definitely not going to do an impression.
No,
it's not worth it. I can only be offensive doing that. So, Mulder places him under arrest, and Barry tells him that they've took her, meaning what we assume she's been abducted by aliens.
But again, who is they?
We don't know.
It's implied that it's
but
aliens.
The fact that he's jubilant to me makes me believe that he thinks it's aliens.
Yeah.
Because he thinks he's safe now.
Yeah.
As Mulder drags him away, the bright white light appears again, and they both look on as Barry struggles and screams. He thinks they're back, the aliens. But we cut to later that night. It gets explained a little bit. The white light was actually a search and rescue helicopter. A search and rescue team rushed to the scene, and basically a team are patching Barry up, and they leave him with Mulder. They're sort of making sure he's okay, making sure because obviously he's still injured. And they're sort of in like this they've custom made this interview room, if you like, an interrogation room.
It's in like some cabin, isn't it?
Yeah, like a hotel of some sort.
Yeah.
And they just sit in silence for a while, and then Mulder then asks what happened to Scully, and Barry tells him that they took her, and that he's made a deal, her instead of him, which was his end goal. And Mulder doesn't want to believe this. He asks, I mean, it's funny, because of all the times Mulder chooses not to believe, it's when someone's agreeing with his beliefs.
Maybe he's just so used to like the pushback though that somebody agreeing it just puts him a bit off, and he's like, this is not.
Well, it could be like a little bit of a denial.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? Because he doesn't want to believe that it's happened to Scully as well as his sister.
True.
He asks Barry if he killed her, and Barry defends himself quite aggressively, actually, telling him they took her and that Mulder saw the ship. And Mulder tells him all he saw was a helicopter in the sky. He didn't see any ship. Barry then notices men in black suits outside and tells Mulder to ask about them. We've seen these guys before. These are the guys in the room in the last episode.
In the last one, yeah.
But as Mulder turns around, they're not there anymore. They've gone. And Mulder ignores him and continues to question. And he notices some of her hair caught on the hospital bracelet that he's got around his wrist. Oh, it's not on his wrist actually anymore. It's on the table, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've taken it off him. And he asks Barry if he asks him, did you hurt her? And Barry continues to refuse. And then Mulder just starts choking Barry out.
Yeah. Just grabs him by the throat.
Yeah, like, I'm scared for Mulder at this point, because, like, he could go too far here.
That's the thing. Like, there's so much he's done in this specific case that's like he's gone over the line now. Like, he could easily. I know the X-Files have been shut down. He could easily just be let loose. Like, at this point, like the stuff that he's doing is like he's disobeyed direct orders, and now he's attacking a witness.
Yeah,
it's
not great. But he throws him on a chair, doesn't kill him. Throws him on the chair. Mulder goes to leave, but Barry tells him he's sorry, and he says he hopes they're not hurting her too much with the tests. Okay, Barry, just. Quit while you're ahead, mate. You've just almost been choked out. You don't say that. Why would you say that?
He just doesn't have any tact.
No, he doesn't.
It's sort of a bit like Mulder.
Luckily, Mulder does leave, and on his way out, Krycek stops him, and Mulder tells him he's giving him nothing. Mulder asks if he was out here alone, wondering whether those men in black suits were there, and Krycek says, "Yeah, I was. No one was here." And Mulder then stares at a bright light outside, and we transition to Scully lying down in a white room, and she seems to be undergoing tests with there's like needles and there's a pump that's sort of inflating her stomach.
See, at this point I was like, is this actually happening or is this Mulder imagining this?
Well, I thought it was happening up until the transition back.
Yeah.
Because the transition back is like the sort of fading back to Mulder's face looking at the light, and I thought, it looked like a dream. Like, at first I thought, oh, this is Scully up in space.
Yeah.
But the impression I got after the transition back was this is Mulder imagining what could be happening to Scully right now.
Also, I like how it's an easy way that they can show off pregnant Scully.
Just a bloated belly.
Yeah.
After this sequence, Mulder notices that Krycek has gone, so he goes to find out where he is, and he finds him in with Barry. He calls him out, berates him for talking to him.
Yeah, basically tells him it's his witness.
Yeah, exactly. And you can tell he doesn't trust Krycek.
Yeah.
He's put two and two together, like he was the only person with a trauma operator, like you said. Like, what did Krycek expect? He must have known that he'd become a suspect instantly. But he says only he can talk to the suspect, like you rightfully said. Skinner then pulls up and scolds Mulder for disobeying him.
Absolutely furious.
Which, again, you can understand.
Yeah.
An officer shouts for paramedics and they rush to Barry's room, because it's come from Barry's room, to find him on the floor, appearing to struggle to breathe. He then dies.
Yeah.
Despite the paramedics' best efforts, he just dies on the floor, and Mulder, Krycek and Skinner are just looking on. They can't do anything. What do you think's happened here? What's your initial...
So, I know they're trying to say that he choked, and maybe it's something that Mulder did.
Yeah. But he was fine after that.
I knew straight away, this Krycek. Krycek's done something that, poisoned him somehow.
Yeah.
And, because you do hear about that, poisons that asphyxiate.
Yeah.
That's the word, isn't it? So I think, it's something like that, some kind of contact poison or something like that. It's hard to trace, and, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I thought, to be honest, because he was fine after Mulder choked him.
Exactly, yeah.
But you could tell it was being made to look like Mulder, which is the scary thing.
Exactly, yeah.
We go back to the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia. And Mulder was requesting a copy of Barry's autopsy report. And the doctor tells him it's incomplete, but initial reports show burns to the face, which I don't know where that came from. Am I missing something there?
I don't know what that was either.
No, I'm not sure. But burns to the face and a bruised larynx. And Mulder asks for a copy once it's done, but the doctor tells him that he will have to go through the military, as there was no available doctors at the time, so the military volunteered to do the autopsy.
Bit suspicious.
It is. We know the military and Mulder have had this sort of dark past. Whenever they've come into contact with each other, it's gone south.
Or he's had his mind erased or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or he's been imprisoned in a cage, or he's been shot at. Yeah. It's never gone well.
It's not gone well for him, yeah.
So we then go to the headquarters car park, and Krycek is in a meeting with Cigarette Smoking Man in his car.
Yeah.
He asks him what he should tell Skinner, and Cigarette Smoking Man tells him to tell him Mulder's version of events. He's earned Mulder's trust, and now he needs to preserve it. Keep on his side, but again, he's already shown his hand.
Yeah, I think he's already... Yeah, he's already made problems for himself. I don't think he's it's as easy as they're making out.
Yeah.
Makes him look a bit naive as well.
It does a little bit, but we know he's quite a young agent, so maybe he is. And I think Cigarette Smoking Man sort of hints at him here that he is expendable.
Yeah.
He thinks he's this important sort of, this big guy at the top of the chain. But I think Cigarette Smoking Man brings him down a few pegs here, because he literally says to him, if you don't do what I want you to do, then we'll find someone who will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Much, yeah.
So Krycek asks for how much longer is he needed to do this, and he's told until his assignment's complete, simple as. Krycek says, if Mulder's a threat, why don't they just eliminate him? Now, this is weird, speaking so frankly about murder.
Yeah.
But Cigarette Smoking Man tells him that that's not policy.
Yeah.
And he says, kill Mulder, and you risk turning one man's religion into a crusade. They don't want to make a martyr out of him.
Basically, yeah. Did you notice before this as well that Cigarette Smoking Man stubbed out his cigarette in the car?
See, I didn't make a note of that, but it does come into play later in the episode.
I wrote it down initially as just, here he is again, stubbing out his cigarette, the cliche TV. It's, he does it so often, I just thought it was, it's just another time he's done it.
He's had a purpose to it.
I didn't realise it would actually be a story device, so...
I like that.
Yeah.
He asks about Scully. This is interesting. He asks about Scully, and Cigarette Smoking Man tells him he's taken care of it, but refuses to give more details, and he leaves Krycek in the car. This is what says to me that it wasn't alien abduction, it was an FBI abduction.
It very well could be, yeah.
Which... Again, it's scary what they can do and how far they're going now, because we would never see this in the first season. They were so secretive and they didn't want to play... Again, I keep on using the card analogy, but they didn't want to show the hand. Whereas now, it feels like they're being pushed into all these things that they don't usually do.
Yeah, because like I said, he's asking, shall we kill him? And he's telling him it's not policy and stuff like that. So it's like they're having to sort of rein themselves in. Yeah,
of course. So, my favourite scene of this entire episode, Skinner's office. Skinner tells the group that the only logical cause of death is asphyxiation, probably due to strangulation from Mulder previously. And Mulder refutes this claim, but admits to choking him. He's not hiding anything. Skinner tells him that Krycek backs his story up, says that it wasn't him, but Skinner orders both agents to take a lie detector test. I don't think this is my favourite scene, actually. I think it's later on. I do apologise, but it's in Skinner's office.
I did look and I was like, there's not a lot happening.
So before leaving, Mulder suggests that Barry may have been poisoned and the military have covered up the I know I'm going to have trouble. I knew when I was writing this down I'd have trouble with this word.
He was right there. Carry on.
Toxicological.
No, you got me, didn't you? Toxicology.
Yeah, but it's not. It's toxicological findings.
Why did you write that? I'd have just said toxicology report.
That's a good way of doing it. So the military might have covered up the toxicology report. Seamless.
Apart from the laugh in the middle.
Keep that in. It's fine. I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't mind looking like an idiot. When questioned as to why he thinks this, he answers because they know where Scully is.
Exactly.
Yeah. One of the men at this table asks Mulder why he's so paranoid. This is such a condescending remark.
It's like, have you met the man?
Yeah. Why are you so paranoid, Mulder? Oh, God. And Mulder tells him maybe it's because he finds it hard to trust anyone. So...
It's sort of asking the FBI if they're so paranoid is sort of what we were talking about the other week of telling somebody to calm down.
Yeah.
It's not going to help.
No, exactly. It's kind of their job to be paranoid, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't want an FBI agent to dismiss things. It's probably nothing.
Don't need to go down that investigation line.
Outside Skinner's office, Mulder asks to borrow Krycek's car. He argues a little bit, but eventually gives him the keys. So Mulder's got the keys now.
Yes.
We then jump to the office of Senator Richard Matheson. I'm very interested to see more of this guy.
We've seen him once.
And I thought we were going to see him again. We don't end up seeing him.
This is like, what, episode 7? Mm-hmm. It's weird.
I want to know more about what this guy does, what's his role. But I'm sure we'll find out eventually. Mulder approaches his office, but Mr. X shows up and tells him the senator can't help him right now. Not without committing political suicide, he adds. He tells them they have something on everyone, and the question is when they will use it. So that's why Matheson can't get involved, because they do have something on Matheson, they have something on everyone. And if he gets involved, if he gets involved too much, the FBI could destroy him. Or the military, whoever's behind this. Mr. X tells him no one can help him, and Mulder argues his predecessor could have helped him, referencing Deep Throat. And after insisting, X asks why the government would kill Barry if they had nothing to hide, sort of hinting at what's to come. He tells them that there are no answers and they only have one policy: deny everything.
And there we go. That's
it's a callback.
Why,
It's a callback. So what X is saying here is he's saying, why would they have killed Barry if they hadn't of what I suspect he's saying is if they hadn't taken Scully. He thinks they've taken Scully because otherwise why would they have killed Barry? The problem he's having is, which he goes on to explain, is that when the military get into this situation, they pull rank and they get everyone back, they retreat, and they just go radio silent, deny everything. They're not going to talk to anybody. Obviously, this isn't the answer Mulder was hoping for.
He does look lost as well at this point, because he's got
no one to turn to. He's not even got anyone to discuss it with like he usually does.
I love the shadows in that scene, by the way. It was just...
I was going to mention that, but continue, sorry.
Yeah, it was just... I think there's a point where he's standing in the shadow, and like when he goes to talk, he steps forward until the light's on his face. It just looked good, of like sort of mysterious sort of informant, kind of like...
I found it very symbolic as well, where if you looked, there's one shot where it panned out, and you had X completely in the shadow, and Mulder completely in the light of the moon. Which kind of refers to their positions, because Mulder is out in the open. He's got no one to hide behind. He's literally... Every organisation that he's fighting against have got eyes on Mulder. No one knows X exists. And I liked it because as X denied, like, wouldn't help. And as soon as Mulder coaxes him to help a little bit, he steps out into the light. And it's only his face that's uncovered.
No, I didn't think about that until
it's only his face that's uncovered. But I think, and again, I could be looking way too deep into this.
I mean, I feel like it's there for a reason. So
I think so too, because it's only his face that's sort of shown by the light. But I think it symbolises him putting himself out there a little bit more and being more visible, which he doesn't want to do.
Maybe it is interesting one to sort of keep looking at.
I think it might be a good idea to keep track of, because if it is intentional, that's brilliant. It's really good, and I love stuff like that. I
get the feeling it is, because usually in like TV shows like this, kind of like scene setting isn't like by accident.
I agree with that. Outside, Mulder leaves and enters the car. Bear in mind, this is Krychek's car. He sits a while and thinks things over, and then notices cigarettes in the car's ashtray. And I think a little light bulb goes off in his head.
I can't believe that the cigarette smoking man has...
Is that stupid?
Ballsed himself up by doing that signature stub. Like they'd been.
He's all about the drama, isn't he?
Yeah, they've been setting that up all the way through, like the series, like since season 1, really, like with the stubbing stuff out, and then now this has like come to a head where it's like an actual plot device. It was really good.
It was. Imagine if this continues. Imagine if like Mulder gets beamed up into an alien spaceship and then finds stubbed out cigarettes. It's like,
he was
here. Now we get to my favourite scene of the episode.
Jumped the gun a bit there, didn't you?
I did, Skinner was looking over a report that Mulder has given him, and he comments that these are serious allegations. Skinner then reviews the report aloud, and basically it states that Krychek was hired by an external source to impede a federal investigation and may have killed the suspect. Spot on, pretty much. Well, I mean, Mulder's got him down to a T. Skinner asks if he's going on record with this, and when Mulder confirms it, tells him he'd better have the evidence to back it up because this is serious. Skinner then calls Agent Krychek into the room, like through a telecom, like asks him to turn up. He doesn't come straight in. Skinner tells Mulder he can't protect him, especially if it becomes a larger bureau matter. He's basically insinuating, I'm trying to protect you, But if this goes up and up and up, there's only so much I can do.
Yeah, especially if he doesn't have the proof.
Exactly, yeah. He asks Mulder what he's got, and Mulder shows him the cigarettes in a sort of evidence bag. And he also notes that Krychek was the last person to be in Barry's room before he died, and the last person to see the tram operator before his disappearance. He also notes he saw an unmarked helicopter working the area on the mountain, and he believes Krychek gave Barry's and Scully's location away. And Skinner seems to be taking all this on board. He's thinking it over, mulling things through, and he asks if he thinks Agent Scully is dead, and Mulder tells him he doesn't know. Mulder asks how far they think this will go, and what he knows about Krychek. And at this point, he's Mulder's ally. I got the impression anyway.
That's what it sounded like, yeah.
Because he goes on to say he doesn't know. He doesn't know how much. He doesn't know that much about Krychek. He was hired above him. Doesn't have any details on him. But he's interrupted by a phone call. He takes the call and is informed that Krychek didn't show up to work that day, and his home number has been disconnected. He's off the grid.
Yeah, he just disappeared.
Mulder gets agitated, and Skinner tries to calm him down. Mulder asks what he can do.
Yeah.
What can you do, Skinner? Because you're trying to sort of play the guy who knows everything. What can you do?
He sort of says as well that how can these people get away with it? Like sort of kill and then not be held accountable.
Yeah.
So.
And Skinner tells him he's going to do the only thing he can do. As of right now, he's reopening the X-Files. That's what they fear the most. Yes, Skinner, come on.
Yeah.
What a move. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Skinner's turnaround has been brilliant this series.
I've never known me to go from disliking a character so much to I loved him in this scene. Because that's the only thing. I mean, that's what they've been trying to stop all this time.
Yeah.
And basically, Skinner's just given him a big finger and just said, F you to everyone there. Do you know what I mean? He's played an absolute royal flush there. So fair play. I really enjoyed this scene. And it's not, again, the character development in Skinner's fantastic.
Yeah. He's slowly becoming one of my favourite characters.
Yes. And how weird is that? Would you have expected that?
Because he was introduced, he was in the first episode, wasn't he?
I think he was in the first episode and then maybe
some at the end of
the
first
I think he was in the last episode first.
But it was always just an obnoxious, he was a bit of an arsehole, from the get-go. And
he was the man, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And then, now, don't get me wrong, he's still the boss, but he's sort of somebody who you're
He's got a personality.
He's actually, he's not, he's got a backbone, he's not just a nameless, he's taking orders from above. He's no, hang on a bit, this isn't right. He agrees and, he's willing to back up his agent, so fair play.
There is some sad news. My prediction was off.
Just a bit, yeah.
I predicted that the X-Files would be brought back when the FBI was stumped by a case. How was I to predict that Skinner was going to be the hero and bring it back in defiance of the military? How could I have predicted that? Come on.
Do you know what it was? It was your... it's because you wanted to give a bit more detail to it. You should have just said, they bring back the X-Files.
Yeah, I know. That would have been a cop-out, though,
easy 1 point.
So, we jump to outside, and Mulder goes to sit on a bench outside the bureau, and he's greeted by Mrs. Scully. And she tells him she had the dream again about Scully being taken away. And Mulder comforts her, basically, and he says it's probably scarier when you stop having the dreams, don't you think?
Yeah.
And I get the logic of that. And Mulder goes to give her the necklace, but she gives it back to him and asks him to give it to Scully when he finds her.
Pressure's on there.
A nice little sentimental moment here. And the last scene is of Skyland Mountain, and Mulder's back on the mountain, I guess, looking for clues.
Yeah.
And he seems to be searching for any sort of answers as he stares up into the night sky, and we get this lovely shot of the stars.
Yeah. So before we finish,
end credits. Sorry, Luke.
Who do you think has taken Scully?
I think it's the military.
You reckon?
I feel like that one scene in the car with Krychek pretty much spelt it out myself. Do you think it's aliens?
No, I don't think it's aliens. I think it's some kind of government body as well. Don't know if it's the military or... Do you know where they mentioned about these undercover black organisations inside the FBI or the government in general? I get the feeling maybe it's something like that. Or is somebody connected to that? Maybe it's not some kind of military organisation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, I keep on saying the military, but whenever I say the military, I assume the military are working for an organisation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not assuming that the military go off and have their own operations. Like, I'm guessing the orders are coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think even Mulder's sort of past with the military has always been they've been working for somebody. They've been given their orders.
Yeah,
so a lot of the
maybe
time
so.
the military don't know what they're doing. Like, you can even hear in conversations they've got an idea, but it's always on orders.
Yeah.
So
It's the structure of like militaries, though, innit?
Yeah, of course.
The people lowest down don't know why they're doing it. They're just told they
it's
need
on
to.
a need-to-know basis.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. But anyway, what did you think of this entire
I
episode?
loved it. These last 2 episodes have been amazing.
Phenomenal,
Like, yeah,
I
I
agree.
really enjoyed these 2. Like, I don't know if I could say individually, I don't know if I could pick either of them as like a top episode for like our end of season stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what. For this section here, while we're just talking about it, and for when we do go back, I say let's see them as one episode.
Okay.
Both
Yeah,
of them.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I feel like you can't talk about one without talking about the other. So, what did you think of these last 2 episodes together?
Yeah. I mean, they were great, like, sort of character building episodes. We see a lot. It had everything, really. It sort of had everything that the finale had. That
Yeah.
we were sort of, it pushes this the mythology story forward more. We see a lot more.
By a hell of a lot as well.
A lot by a lot. We see a lot more character like growth from especially Skinner, like who has come on leaps and bounds from what we initially saw him as.
And I love, just in general, I love a badass moment. And Skinner definitely delivered that in this episode. I love a moment where you can get behind a character and just go, yes, come on. And we got that in this episode, which is good.
And it had a bit of action as well with the stunt work from Duchovny as well. So it was great. And the X-Files are back, so you can't get any better episode than that, really.
No, I can't wait for next week. I'm imagining now we're going to be getting more. I don't want to use the word spooky, but we're going to get more sort of out there episodes now.
Yeah.
I would guess. I mean, full disclosure, we have watched the next episode ready to record, but I feel like the next few episodes, we're going to get out there episodes with like different monsters. If you like.
Yeah, I feel like the next few are going to be Monster of the Weeks, and then
There's been a lot of mythology in this beginning 7 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, they've really ramped it up, and I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it, to be honest. I'm enjoying this season more than last, so it's interesting.
Yeah, so far, like we're episode 6. This is.
Yeah. Oh, is it 6? Sorry,
I thought it was 7. Yeah. Episode 6, and so far we've had some really, really good episodes.
Yeah, we have.
I'm trying to think of like, has there been a bad one so far?
Yes. Well, I didn't like one, did I?
Blood and
I think Blood was probably the weak episode.
yeah, Blood was weak, and you didn't like.
I didn't like Sleepless.
Yeah.
But it's from what I've read, everyone seems to really enjoy it. So that might just be personal preference. But I can't say.
But out of 6 episodes, having 2 that you aren't keen on,
But I still enjoy it.
That's what I mean.
And not only that, the story as a whole has been great. The continuing story throughout, I've really enjoyed it. Not to mention the fact we've still got Scully to come back into this.
Yeah,
and I can't wait for that. I'm really craving Scully back in with Mulder now. So.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of bits of feedback that I'd like to get to quickly before the end.
Yeah.
Ray got in touch, and she told, on Twitter, she told us she enjoyed our discussion on the Dwayne Barry episode, which was last week. And she said she enjoyed it so much she rewatched it, which is great. That's exactly what we wanted. She mentioned that it's true the red Speedo turned out more iconic than the aliens.
Yeah.
I can see why.
Yeah. I get the feeling that is going to be a scene that people keep talking about, like going forward.
It's so out of place though, but I love it. It's great.
I think that's a good thing to have in TV series, of that weird thing.
It's
that
iconic.
Yeah.
You're always going to remember it.
Yeah, definitely.
But she went on to say, but seriously, the scenes between Dwayne and Mulder, it was so riveting. It blows my mind. It always rates a 10 for me, which is we agreed to that.
Yeah. It's an episode.
She also commented on our podcast accounts, and she expanded that regarding the Speedo scene in the 90s, the female fandom of the X-Files, should I say, made a collective gasp when Mulder rose from that pool in his red Speedo. I imagine it's very much like the Bond scene, you know what I mean? What was that? What's that? Is it Fast Times at Ridgemont High? The classic scene with the woman getting out of the pool.
Oh yeah,
I don't even know who it is.
I'd never seen the
Phoebe
film.
something, I think.
I've never seen the film. All I know is the parody that Family Guy did.
It's been parodied so many times.
Yeah.
She's got like a red bikini
Yeah.
on. So red, there you go. It's the equivalent of that scene.
Well, they always say the colour red is like it's a
sexual colour.
Basically, it's like a lustful colour. Apparently, red is.
Okay, interesting.
Do
you think Mulder knew that when he picked his speedos out that day?
Maybe. I'm sure I read somewhere that if you ever go on a date, like a first date, if you wear the colour red, there's some kind of like scientific like study that you've got a higher chance of it being a successful date just by wearing the colour red.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it was a cracked article actually of like stuff.
I mean, it does come into psychology and all that, doesn't it? I'd imagine. Yeah,
there's
interesting.
There's all sorts of stuff on that. It was like basically like different psychological stuff around that might completely affect your love life in ways that you can't even control. Like apparently your smell, like your pheromone that you give off, can immediately like put people off, and you can do nothing about it.
Yeah,
it's just
Anyway, why it's important to make an effort.
Oh, that is
get that aftershave on.
Well, even that doesn't matter. That's why aftershave can be a problem because it masks that scent. Then when they stop wearing it, you're like, what the man?
I don't like this guy, but I don't know why.
I don't know why. I just can't put my finger on
it. She continued that that scene has been. That scene has been gifted, slow motioned, and zoomed out by creative fans.
Yeah.
As per David Duchovny, that red speedo was his own personal swimwear.
Oh, really?
I love that. I could so imagine him wearing that to the local baths to go swimming. Anyway, she said, "I'm glad that you find Dwayne Barry great because this ep is in my top 5 of all the series."
Oh right, okay.
And the scene between Mulder and Dwayne is so tense. I was chewing my nails the whole time. My favourite scene. I can see why. Yeah. It's a great episode. Like we've said, I know we've been talking about. You can't not talk about these 2 episodes together. But these 2 episodes, just really good.
I think Dwayne Barry as an episode as well. I'm sure I've seen it before in like the top 10 episodes. And stuff like it does appear in those like best episode lists. So, and I could
is that purely for the speedo scene?
Maybe.
It could be.
Could be the speedo scene alone. Yeah. We also had a tweet from Kathy. She said, "Still listening, but I had to pause to share this." And she shared, it's probably not going to do much on a podcast, but if you head to Kathy's Twitter, which you can see if you go onto our Twitter account, she's got a picture of her.
I did see this.
Yeah, with lifeguard Mulder.
Yeah.
And it's it's Kathy with a picture of David Duchovny in a lifeguard.
I love it because we said that he's like a Ken doll.
Yeah.
And we've got lifeguard Mulder, complete with hoodie. You can take the hoodie off if you want.
Accessories and everything, yeah. Perfect.
Oh, superb. So yeah, I think that's everything this week. Next week, I'm a little bit confused because I've heard some places call the episode 3 and some places call the episode Trinity. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It was listed as 3 when I watched it on Amazon.
Yeah, but on Wikipedia, it says Trinity. So it's strange. I'm not sure, but we'll go into that one next week. Apart from that, it's been a lovely time, everybody, and a couple of great episodes to really get us into the mood for the rest of the season. Goodbye from me. Goodbye from Luke.
Goodbye.
Give us a lasting sentence to go off with. The world's waiting.
When you put me on the spot here a bit.
It's all right. We've
still got time.
We've got time. Just people are wanting to put the podcast down now, but no, you keep going. Keep going.
No, it was
and goodbye, folks.
I really enjoyed this episode. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. Like, it is It's weird though, isn't it?
What was that? Did you just speak Klingon?
That was me reversing. Oh god. Carter added that the scene of the experiments were meant to be ambiguous on whether was.
Why did you keep doing that?
Can't stop it.
Mulder and Krychek are on the way to Skyland Mountain.
Just carry on. Got that on.
Yeah, that's
Good,
nice.
that's good.
It's nice. Please don't use that.
We'll see.